Hey True Believers, Englentine here, and we're going to find out, is that Invaders miniseries that came out a couple of years ago really that good? This is something that while I was reading it, when it was coming out, I was way into it. Wanted to give it a little time between, just to let it rest, and maybe, you know, sometimes you get caught up in the excitement. Is it really that good? Or, you know, was it just at the time I was feeling really pumped and excited for it? So that's what we're here to find out today. Going to go through the first 6 issues, so let's get this party started. Issue number 1, we start off, of course, with a bit of the Invaders. Back in World War II, we see Namor lose a friend, and it was right at the end of the war, too, so it hurt especially. He decides to kind of go into himself, and he's, he kind of lashes out as well. He doesn't want to hurt as bad as he does for the loss of his friend. So he looks at humans and he says, you know, they're not, all I'm here for is to stop this bag of water from killing that bag of water and make sure that the Nazis never make it to the seas. And it's that kind of lashing out. We cut to the future, well, now anyway, the present, and we see that Namor is still dealing with that loss. He's got PTSD. As a matter of fact, in one of the dumber lines in this, Captain America says, well, the war is still fresh to me. I mean, well, yeah, but you were frozen, and, you know, it's kind of different for Namor. Namor, on the other hand, is very long-lived, yet this one particular incident is proven to be big for him. So when we see him in Atlantis, he's taking his advisors and some of his warriors over to another kingdom and saying, hey, listen, I know you fought my father, but here's the thing, I'm going to require some loyalty, and if you don't give it to me, I'm going to kill you guys. Of course, they push back on Namor, so he parts the Red Sea to be biblical, and then tells everybody, well, you could either die or you could join me. And so, of course, they choose join, and he's talking about all of his plans up against the backdrop of World War II, and he's saying, yeah, I've got a plan now to make sure this kind of evil never happens again. It's basically that they're going to attack the surface, and we see that there was one guy whose life was saved by Namor, who names his kid Namor, and when he's going through his father's stuff, because his father looks like he's on his deathbed, he finds some sort of picture that makes him go, oh my gosh, what is this? Now, they find out Namor is planning something, the Avengers do, but Captain America's like, this isn't an Avengers problem, it's an Invaders problem. So he calls up Bucky and gets ready to go and to confront Namor. In issue number 2, I gotta say, I like the cover. It's very representative of what's on the inside of the book. We have a couple of storylines going on. The son of the character who Namor saved is finding information that Namor and Professor Xavier had a meeting before he had gained his memory back, apparently. And then we have a funeral for Namor's friend in the past. And in the present, Captain America is going to Namor to tell him, hey, look, dude, you got to chill out because every hero in the book is going to be coming down after you. You know that's going to happen. Don't start a war with the surface. Which, let's face it, Namor starts a war with the surface every other day, so, you know, what's different there? It's actually a really good chapter of the book, in my opinion. I do like the fact that, I like the fact that we're getting pissy Namor, by the way, all throughout the book. He really is one of the biggest man-children in the Marvel Universe. One of the things that I think really they touch upon, but it should be explored, is apparently Namor has stolen Hydra Man's power. Think about that for a second. He's like, a human shouldn't have this power. But does that mean he could take superpowers from other super beings? Is that what, you know, is that where we're going? Or is it just Hydra-related powers? I don't know. But that's something that they kind of gloss over. It's a really big deal in this book. Thankfully, though, issue number 2 just as strong as issue number 1, and I'm still interested in finding out what happened in issue number 3. Okay, so in issue number 3, I read this a while back, so, okay, hold on, let me try to remember. Okay, no, issue number 3 is when, it starts off great because Tony's like, holy crap, Cap, Namor really wants to start a war. We got to go. We got to hit him first. And Captain's like, I'll talk to you later when you don't want to kick ass. You don't want to start a war. So he goes on a ship and he's like, hey, Captain, you got to not do what you're going to do. And because I'm friends with Namor. She goes, you're friends with Namor? Holy crap, I'm like this far away from throwing you in the brig. But we find out that Winter Soldier is actually infiltrating the ship while Captain America is distracting all of the troops by being Captain America. And they even mention that, like, oh, wow, I'm glad I don't have to deal with that kind of thing. All the while, Namor is actually trying to, or planning on stealing some components to a bomb. Now, Captain America, being Captain America, probably could have gone Captain. There are elements for a nuclear weapon on this that Namor is trying to steal. And we're here to protect it, or we need to get it off the ocean quick. Or away from him, maybe somewhere in, Montana. Why not? But he doesn't. Instead, they like I said, infiltrate the ship. Then he goes to visit Namor's friend to get some information. And I think this is a time difference here, but this series sometimes does play with time in a way that it doesn't make sense. And Namor shows up and quickly dispatches of Captain America. And takes his time with his friend to talk to him, find out what was said and everything. And the friend's like, oh, I didn't say anything, I promise. And his message to Namor is, don't do this. Don't start a war. This isn't you. I know you. You're a better person than that. And then he dies of what seems like a heart attack. And he flies off. And that's what ends the third issue. Invaders number 4, we have Captain America, and he's back with the family that took in Namor, and he says, look, we're running out of time. You got to help us here. So she says, okay. And he says, tell us everything you know about Namor, which I was thinking, wait a second. You just basically said you're running out of time. You don't really need to know everything about Namor, and this is for us, not for Captain America. So it works on that basis. If you don't know Namor's story, here it is. But it's if they're really running out of time, it's like, okay, why don't you just tell us the pertinent information we need to know that will help us right now? Instead, we do get a kind of backstory, a little bit more expanded to fit the narrative of this miniseries. But it's still like, how did Namor lose his memory to end up on the dock where the Human Torch found him? He meets up with Charles Xavier, and they travel across the country trying to find other mutants. When they find one, the cops kill him because they think he's attacking him with his powers when it accidentally goes off. And that sends Namor on another rage, because that's what Namor does. This is not a weak issue. It's not a bad issue. If you're not, like I said, if you don't know Namor's backstory, it makes sense for you to get it. It really does. I just kind of figured it's got that one flaw, like the Supergirl movie. We're in a hurry, but let me get a secret identity and do the whole thing. It just didn't make sense. Narratively, it doesn't make sense to do the backstory, in all honesty. Just give us what we need to know now. And then, of course, we see that the Winter Soldier has been double-crossed, and that's issue number 4. To be honest, this is Invaders number 6, obviously, or 5, excuse me. To be honest, I think that Namor is kind of like the Joker when it comes to being the villain / hero and all that kind of stuff. I think it's done, I mean, this is... We get a little backstory from the war, and I love those scenes, by the way. And then, of course, his friend is in his head talking about how, yes, you still care about these humans and all that kind of stuff, but Namor sees that they need peace through war, and he doesn't listen. And so Captain America's trying to get all the ducks in the row. He thinks he knows what's going on. Namor seems to be one step ahead of everybody. And first thing we see that he's absolutely serious about going through his plans is he takes out the Human Torch. I mean, lops his head right off. That's a head that comes back in the future of the book as well. But this is where the poop hits the fan, seriously, and it's a very exciting book. This one will put you on edge, and I'm glad they took the time actually to explain everything. I know I mentioned in the last issue that they took time out to explain stuff that you might not need to know, but it just narratively between the two characters it would have been a mess, but for us it really does help out because it just builds up the tension. So when you get here, it's just like, what the hell? Why would you do this to people you care for, Namor? And it really works. It does work on that level. It's a really, really good story. But once again, he's kind of like the Joker. He's done this a lot. I think it's time to put him down and put him down permanently. But I know that's what a lot of people say about Joker, and I always think it can't be the Batman who does it, and I don't know who would do it here. That being said, so far so very good, and there's one issue left that we're going to do in this video. Namor's bombs land, and it's not a destructive bomb. It actually turns people into water breathers. That is something. That exists now in the Marvel Universe. This is a couple of years ago. This now exists. That is a humongous weapon, by the way. And the Avengers are trying to stop Namor, and then, of course, they realize, holy crap, we got to get these guys to water, and Namor's sitting there with a big old wave so everybody could run into it, basically. He changed him a water breather, saying he's going to save them. So the final tally in the comic book is 10,000. This is, it's kind of funny because the same year that this book was out, they started, soon after, they started an Atlantis attack. So I'm like, this is the big crossover, gang, because I think at the time it was War of Asgard or War of the Realms. This was the big crossover. This was a better written story than War of the Realms. It's got something that actually affects people, but it's more personal story. I think that's one of the big problems they do with the crossovers. They expand it so much, there's nothing to latch onto. Here, yeah, it's good. It'll get you. This one will get you going, oh my gosh, no, how could he do that? But in all honesty, this should be the last Namor story. After this, he really should be taken down and understood. But then again, I would have said that Civil War 3 should have been the last Captain Marvel story. But what do I know? Obviously, Marvel doesn't think the same. Really well written. You can tell by the art that's going by. It's very well drawn. We're at the halfway mark. And at some time I'm going to get back to it. But I've got to tell you, so far, this has been a lot of fun. This has been a really good series that took time to let us get to know the characters before everything came crashing down. So when it did come crashing down, oh my gosh, there's emotional stakes. This is like a unicorn at Marvel today. An amazing, well-drawn story. But that's just my opinion. What is yours? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to click like, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Cool things happen, and you don't want to miss anything around here. Alrighty. Also, if you don't mind helping out the channel, go on over to Patreon or to Ko-Fi or even to members only over at I Love Comics. Drop $1 in the till. Helps keep the lights on, helps keep making videos for you. Thank everybody who's already done that, and to everyone, all of our true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.